Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining. Today's a special episode. I am finally going to give you my trade secrets for how I set up a Windows computer right out of the box. Out of the box, Windows 10, in a word, is atrocious. I do not like the defaults that Microsoft has for Windows 10. So when I get it for a customer, I do a lot of changes right off the bat to help the customer get more out of their computer, to speed it up, to optimize it, and to make it more user-friendly. So why don't you come along with me as I show you exactly what we're going to change. Now, if it suits you, please take a moment and subscribe to the channel at the bottom. It does help us. Any of the YouTube guys that are out there making videos, the subscriptions help generate ad revenue. So please subscribe if you like the videos, that is. If you do like it and the content suits what you're looking for, give us a good old thumbs up at the bottom. Leave any comments for me. I'd really be interested to see what you do that might be different from mine, to see how we can better optimize computers. Windows 10 by default, as you can see, it's not exactly what I would call user-friendly. The first thing I do is I open up Microsoft Edge. I go to nanite.com. There's various pronunciations of that, and hopefully I've done it justice. This is a program that will automatically download a bunch of software so that you can do automated installs while you get on with things. So a few things that I always set up. I do Google Chrome for all of my users, as well as Firefox, because there's occasionally a website will not work in one or the other browser. And to have both, you're almost a guarantee that you're going to have the website working. Go through the list. A couple of things that I do install. I also do iTunes for my clients because most people have an iPhone or something, or they use iTunes for music. Personally, I use iTunes, so if my internet goes down, I can hotspot to my phone. But in order for that to work with an iPhone, iTunes must be installed. I do VLC Media Player because nothing beats that for a user friendliness for all kinds of video formats and types. You can certainly go through this list, see what else you might use. The runtimes I always use the Javas, the .NET, Silverlight, Air. I do all the runtimes. So it just makes websites load up a lot better. I do WinDirstat, which is a program that allows you to view where all the space might be used up on your hard drive. I have used this countless times to help customers figure out why their hard drive is full when they say it really shouldn't be. I don't like changing the Windows Start menu. A lot of people choose this one. Personally, I'd rather use Windows as it is. GIMP is a program that I recommend to a lot of people if you're going to do any video editing. Certainly download that as well. I don't do it by default. I do install Qt PDF so that they can access or create PDF files, which a lot of people want to do these days. Security, Malwarebytes is a typical one that I would install. I don't do any of the free antivirus programs. Some of them are good, but I would personally recommend make the expense, pay for a full registered version of an antivirus program, whatever your brand that you prefer. It's definitely worth the money. The rest of this, you can either install some of it or not. That's totally up to you. But this is the core that I install for everybody. So what you do is you click on the bottom here, you go get your Nanite. And when it comes up with the box, click on Run. It takes a couple of seconds. And then it will start downloading all these programs that you have currently selected. So click on Start. Here's where we get into the nitty-gritty. I type Control Panel. I also pin this to the start, by the way. So I open up Control Panel. I change this view by clicking on View into small icons. I'd already done this ahead of time because by default you get this view, which I don't like. So I change it to small icons, and while I'm working on all the accounts, I do go into the user accounts, change user account settings, and I slide this all the way down because I don't want to be prompted for every program that I'm trying to install. So I get that out of the way first and foremost. Second thing, the time at the bottom here, I right click on it, adjust date and time. Set it for your time zone. In this case, we're in the Pacific time zone. Then we will right click on it, taskbar settings. In the taskbar settings, here's a bunch of settings that I normally change. I use small taskbar items. I use the peak, and the average person doesn't use PowerShell, so I usually always turn this off. Here's another one here to me that's critical. Always hide the labels. No. When you see at the bottom here, you can see a couple of programs open, but unless you're looking at this bar at the bottom, you don't know which programs are actually open. So I choose to combine it only when the taskbar is full. So now you can see exactly what you're currently running on the bottom. Select which icons appear on the taskbar. I select that and I deselect everything. Once I've installed my antivirus software, I'll come back in here and I'll turn on the view just for that one icon only. So now we've got that out of the way. Click on your Start menu. Show more tiles on the start, so it gives you 4 rows instead of 3. So when you click on Start, you can see now we're up to the 4th row right here. I don't like to view the recently added apps. All these other ones I turn off, so I just leave the top 2 on. Click on Themes. The one thing I always do here is under the desktop icon settings, I turn on Computer and User Files, and if it's in a domain, I will select the network one as well. Otherwise, for home users, I'll leave that turned off. My colors, you can choose a dark theme. A lot of people these days seem to like the dark theme. Personally, I'm not a particular fan of it, but it is preference. It's totally up to you what you want to do. I usually choose the light theme, customized theme. I select the Windows mode to dark and this one to light. I like blue, so I select this particular blue right here. And then the bottom 2, I will turn on as well. That's most of the settings in this page that I take care of. I also I right click on this PC and I pin it to my Start menu as well. Now, bear in mind, I'm a minimalist when it comes to the programs on my desktop, so I don't like things on the desktop. So as all these install, I will push them over into the recycle bin to clean off the desktop. Right click on it, go View, Small Icons, View, Auto Arrange Icons. Sometimes you'll see a ghost image on either a folder or a desktop. A quick shortcut in Windows 10 is simply hit F5 on your keyboard, which will refresh the screen for you. Next, I go into this PC. I don't like it called Local Disk C. I normally right click on this, I rename it, and I call it System. Open up Windows. Here's the next option I do, is click under View, Options, change folder and search options. I don't like the quick access. The first thing you do when you open up this PC, right here, this is a quick access and you get all the last things you opened at the bottom here. I'm not a big fan of that, so I set this to this PC by default. And under View, I will always show menus. I leave the top one off. I always display the full path in the title bar. Here's one that I would really recommend. Don't show hidden files, don't show system files, but do turn off this option to hide extensions for known file types. This one's critical because what it does is if you say have a text file in your document, it'll just show you the name of the file. It won't show you the 3-digit extension. Malware writers have gotten into the habit of utilizing that feature. So you won't know that it's a command file or something else. And before you know it, you could be running some malicious code on your computer. So always view the extension. Click on OK. Okay, as you can see, Nanite just finished in the background. So here's where we do a couple more settings. Like I said, get rid of everything on your desktop. I also clean up the bottom here. I don't show the Cortana icon. I don't show the task view icon. Unpin the store, unpin the mail. I leave Edge there because that's the third browser that I configure for all my clients. In the Start menu itself, here's where I do a lot of differences too. I keep Microsoft Edge. I just move it up to the top. This whole section, you can right click on this now and unpin the group from the Start menu. It gets rid of it all. I do, admittedly, set up the weather for my clients as well. The rest of this group, you can get rid of it. So I'll rename this to System so it matches your C drive. I do like setting that to a large view, which I'll do in just a second. I usually select my browsers to a small icon. I put Control Panel up there, resize to large, Click on the city that you're in, or choose the city that you're in. In this case, I am in Prince George. Now, Windows 10 puts a lot of apps in your start menu. 3D Viewer. Uninstall it, you'll probably never use it. If you're not going to use the calendar, uninstall it too. I do keep the calculator because I use that quite a bit. Feedback Hub. I don't know anybody that's ever used that. Firefox. I pin to the start menu and I pin it to the taskbar. I move it up here now. Firefox I will keep as a larger icon because that's the one that I will set as the default, as you'll see in just one moment. Google Chrome, I do the same thing. I pin it to the start and I pin it to the taskbar. This I'll set as a small icon and move it up to join Microsoft Edge. At the bottom over here, I put the order of what I recommend the browsers to be used. So I usually recommend Firefox, Google Chrome, and then Microsoft Edge. Yes, I know. A lot of you are going to jump right away and say, but Google Chrome is so much better because they have 69% of the market share. Yes, they do. Please stay tuned for my next video. I'm going to deal with those two browsers and why I choose Firefox over Google Chrome. Keep going through this list. Groove Music, unless you use it, uninstall it. What I normally do for clients is I uninstall pretty much everything in here that can be uninstalled. And then I tell them what you want to use, you can install through the Microsoft Store. Malwarebytes I installed, so I pin that to my start menu. And I would create a group called Utilities. There's still one more that we're going to go out and fetch. Uninstall Solitaire, Reality Portal. Like I say, if you're going to use any of these, don't uninstall them. Keep them where they are. Office. Yes, I do get rid of OneDrive unless you're going to be using it. I don't like Microsoft forcing their products that they think you should be using. So Microsoft OneDrive, I get rid of that as well. Let that uninstall in the background. Keep going down. OneNote, if you're not going to use it. Same thing with Paint 3D. Skype. Tips. Voice recorder. Unless you're going to use the Xbox Companion, I uninstalled that one as well. Now, the next one I do is I open up all my browsers because there is a default configuration that you need to do. I open up Google Chrome, I open up Microsoft Edge. In these, by default, you can put whatever search site you want. Again, please stay tuned for my next video because I'm going to deal with this one as well, whether or not you use Google Chrome as your default search engine. There are some very valid reasons not to use it, but for the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to just use this as the default start page. However, I know a lot of you are going to say, yeah, but there is a lot of buts when it comes to this. And generally speaking, on my own computer, I change these settings considerably, but for the average client, this is what I've found over the years of dealing with them. This is what they want. So the default I set for them. Options, home, I use the current URL, so it's Google. I also do one other thing. In the search here, I remove all the engines you're not going to use. I remove all of them by default except for Google so that clients have a choice to put what they want in. I personally use DuckDuckGo because it's got a bit more security on that. But again, like I say, we'll deal with that one at another point. Also in Google, in Mozilla Firefox, click on Customize and drag this bookmarks menu right up top there. I find that way easier to find your websites than anything else. So all your favorites will appear right here, or all your bookmarks. Close that down. Same thing with Google Chrome. I'll just put that as the default. Again, I know there are different ways to do this, and I have done it myself, but we'll deal with that later. So we'll use Google Chrome for that one too. And same thing in Microsoft Edge. We'll use Google. Either google.com or google.ca. Because I'm in Canada, most of my clients want google.ca. The next thing I do is, because Microsoft has finally upgraded their browser, there's a new version of Microsoft Edge. I just type new Edge in the browser and I download it and install. It is considerably more user-friendly, more stable than the current version. So do download this right away. I understand in the next version of Windows 10, which is coming out towards the last quarter of 2020, that version, this new edition of Microsoft Edge will be by default installed. But Windows 10 on its own, it's not a default. So let that finish installing. And as I mentioned earlier, there's one more program that I install on every single computer. I go to CCleaner.com. And by default, I will just do the free version. If you're concerned about ads or anything, CCleaner does include a lot in there. They do recommend that you buy their version, which gets rid of the ads. But on their site, they do have a builds tab as well. And you can install the slim version, which is what I generally do for my clients. So there's no advertising programs at all to start off with. It just gives them a clean, easy experience to start. So next, install. And finish. First thing in CCleaner, go into options, click on settings, and here's where you can change your default home screen. I do the custom clean as the default. Also, because I'm not using the registered version, the smart cleaning I turn off. But there is another reason for not running CCleaner when your computer first turns on. When your computer is initializing, it's creating a huge amount of temporary files. If you're running a cleaning program to delete temp files that are being created while programs are initializing, you make your computer run a lot slower. So I never have cleaning programs run by default when your system starts up. I let everything load for the operating system and I disable everything else. Then I'll manually enable it on my own. So Edge just finished installing in the background. Let's finish that off. And there we go. Edge is done. CCleaner is installed. Now CCleaner, this is a program that is indispensable. You have to have it on every single computer that you have. For the simple reason, temporary files, cookies, all of that accumulates on your computer. It slows you down. It compromises your privacy and security. Not only that, but a lot of websites use your previous cookies to track you and to target you with different advertising. So get rid of all of that stuff. Every time you browse the web or do something, run CCleaner. What I normally do is when I set this up for my clients, I edit the shortcuts here. Malwarebytes, I would go into More, Open File Location, and in the Malwarebytes shortcut, in brackets, I will generally type in Run Weekly. Because the minimum is once a week and you'll be good with that. I also go into the CCleaner folder and I rename the CCleaner shortcut. This one I put in brackets, Run Daily. Now why do I rename these? Quite simple. So it's a visual cue to my customers. When they click on Start, it says CCleaner Run It Daily. So they are reminded to click on CCleaner, click on Run. Don't show the message again. Let it do its thing. It'll clean off all your temporary files and everything else and keep your system really nice and clean. Now, of course, at this point, there's a number of different options that you can do once you get your system. Right-click on the desktop, personalize, change your desktop background to another picture, perhaps a picture that you have. There's various websites that do unbelievable pictures for free. There's also websites that you can pay for really good backgrounds. There's even motion backgrounds now, believe it or not. But each one of those will slow your computer down. So as you can see, the start menu is clean. There's nothing in there that is not by default with Windows 10. And all the garbage or the free programs that they give you has been removed. What you might not know is this. Microsoft has decided that Windows 10 is for free, all your updates. Yes, the OEMs and all those guys still pay a fee to install Windows on a new computer. So Microsoft does generate some income that way. But a big thing that you might not realize is all those free programs that you see there, all the free games, and there will be more popping up as they do updates and fixes and patches. They'll put more free programs. different games. If you click on those games and then you decide to buy it and register it, Microsoft gets a commission from that company for all those games. So you've got to think of how many millions upon millions of computers this is on. They make a lot of money in commission from that. That is why Windows 10 is predominantly free now. There are other options that you can do, but this is the default cleanup that I would do on every computer that I set up for my clients. Hopefully, that'll help you make your computer easier to use, make it a cleaner interface, make it less complicated. And like I said before, please give us a thumbs up and click on the subscribe button at the bottom. Let me know what topics you might be interested in. I am going to follow this up with a couple on the browsers that I was talking about at the beginning of this video, and how to secure them, how to protect your privacy on the internet. So please keep tuned for that coming up in the next couple of days.